Peace. What's happening, good people? This gift here for Pay Us No Mind. And today we're talking about advances, man. And some of these deals that have been coming my way through artists that just been like, hey man, what you think? So not looking at any particular artist's deal or artist's deal. What I did was go to one of these advanced platforms and just picked an artist, any artist, pick an artist, any artist, and ran the system to see what it would give me in the sense of like what type of advance it would offer me, what the terms were. And what we're going to do is look at these terms and basically debate whether it's a good deal and what makes it a good deal and all of that good stuff, man. So let's check it out. Let's look at this platform. This particular platform is called BeatBread, I believe. And we're going to look at what they gave us as an offer. Now, I'm not going to tell you the artists I used. So we're just going to take a look. All right. Now, let me see. Okay. Now, you see here what they offering us. Hold on. Yeah, man. This deal. So the terms of this deal. So when it comes to included music, you see catalog only. They give the option for an artist to choose to include new releases. So like the revenue that gets generated from the new releases would count within this deal. Or the artist can say, I only want my catalog, only the songs that are up on the streaming platforms right now are available to be included as a part of this deal. And then you got the length of the contract. Now, the length of the contract is for 3 years. So what this means is no matter if the revenue is paid back, even if you pay back the loan in year one, you're still under contract for 2 more years. So you would still have to continue to pay this deal for 3 years, no matter what. So they're estimating that it's going to take you 3 years to pay back what they're giving you. But if you pay it back sooner, they continue to collect for the other 2 years. Like if you pay it back in year one. And then you can decide whether or not you want to continue to collect a percentage of the revenue that your music generates. So you can decide, I want to continue to collect 10% of my streaming revenue, despite the fact that I'm in this deal and they're going to be collecting revenue from me. Now, they would extend the terms, so you would be in the deal for longer, but you could keep some money from the activity of your music if you chose to. Again, you would end up in the deal for longer though. So then they got this breakdown here where you see artist income, and they say, okay, before recoupment. So if you were getting a percentage, it would be like 10%, 20%, whatever percentage you was keeping. But if you're just saying put 100% towards paying off the debt, then it's zero. Now this 82% if recouped before 3 years, that means that if you recoup this after 1 year, then all of the years that follow, you would be able to collect 80% of the revenue you generate for the remaining years. So if it's 2 years left on the deal, you get to keep 82% of the revenue that you generate for the remaining 2 years. And then they got at the deal 100%. Now what they're offering is a deal of $5,600 and paid back at a rate of 67%. So 67% is the recoupment rate. So that means that rather than Like if you earn $5,600, that's not what you paid back. If you earn $5,600, you didn't pay back $5,600. Right? So if you generate $5,600 in streams, you paid back $3,752 because 67% of 5,600 is $3,752. So you got to earn more than what they gave you in order to pay back that loan. So in order to fully recoup, you need to generate $8,358 in order to pay back what they gave you. So $8,358 pays back the $5,600 that they gave you with a recoupment rate of 67%. So if you paid this deal off in year one, right? Like let's say your streams do well and you knock it out the park and you pay back that 8,000 whatever in year one. This is what you earn for the next 2 years. So instead of getting your full 100% in year two, you would get $6,853. In year two, you would get this, in year three, you would get the same amount. Right? And they would earn $1,505 annually for the next 2 years after they've gotten back the $5,600 they gave you plus the other two, right? Because they make it or they make back 8,000. They've already made back $8,000, right? So they already made back $8,000. Now on top of that 8,000, they're getting 1,000 a year for the next 2 years. So they will earn $1,505 annually for the next 2 years. So by the end of the deal, right? By the end of the deal, they earn $11,368 from the $5,600 they gave you. So they gave you $5,600, but if you were to pay it back in year one and generate that same amount of revenue for the full 3 years, they would make back $11,368. Right? Yeah, they would make back 11,368. Now, if they didn't make that back, right? Like if it took you the full 3 years to generate the revenue that they gave you, then they would only make the 8,000, but they still make more money than what they gave you, right? All right. So they still make more than what they gave you. Now, the whole thing is that it's not so much about whether they make money or not. It's more about you and what you do with the money they gave you and whether you need the money. So it's like sometimes artists find themselves in a tight spot where they need money now. So it's like, okay, well, I can't wait for 3 years because this is an amount of revenue that they're saying based on his current streaming activity would take him 3 years to generate. So if an artist is saying, yo, man, I could use $5,600 right now, and I don't know what the hell is going to happen in 3 years, but I need that money right now. Then you take that money and you do what you need to do with it, and then they take it for the 3 years. So the reality is like, okay, well, if you take that money and you blow it, that's your revenue for the next 3 years. You know what I'm saying? But if you take that money and maybe you flip it, I don't know what the plans are. But at the end of the day, your revenue is going to be going to get taken from you for the next 3 years to pay it back, plus interest. So even if you do well, and not just plus interest, all of it's interest, but they're going to be taking a percentage of your royalties even after you recoup. Now, the question is, it's like, is it a bad deal or is it a good deal? And maybe it's in the eye of the beholder, So it's like, if, again, you needed the money, you took the money and it helped you handle whatever it was you was handling at the time, Hopefully you got other stuff going on where, you can not be dependent on the streaming revenue that you're going to lose, and yeah, man, it might work out. If not, then, I mean, I don't know, man. At the end of the day, is it? Because it's like, if your music performs well, here's the thing for me, man, that I look at and I'm like, that kind of like gnaws at me a little bit. And it's the fact that they're getting a percentage of your royalties without really sacrificing anything. Like, yeah, if you need the money, you get cash now, it's like a payday loan. Yo, I got somebody cut my lights off. I got to pay that bill today, right now, because I can't have my family in the dark. So it's like you go and you get that payday loan, and now it's like Friday comes and you don't get your money on Friday. Plus you got to pay them back whatever interest they tacked on to the payday loan or whatever have you, and it's like, but with that, you pay it back and that's it. With this, they're effectively getting, what is it, like more than 15% of your revenue for however long, for 2 years, maybe, if you pay that back early, you know what I'm saying? And whatever you generate over what they gave you, they're taking like over 15% of, man, So it's like, yeah, the more money you make, the more money you lose in exchange for the 5,600. So if your music blows up and you make $100,000, they're getting, like, what's that? Like 18%, of that they're getting to take, It's like, I mean, listen, you got the money that they gave you, so that's like cool. But at the same time, I don't know, man. Now the good thing about it is that it only applies to streaming royalties. So everything else is yours to keep. So you can still sell physical music. You can still license the music. They don't own the masters or nothing like that. So you're free to do, you got a lot of freedom. You're free to do whatever it is you want to do, sell your music, sell NFTs, whatever it is. All they're claiming is the streaming revenue until you pay it back. Now, if you lose some money on that, which is like, it's inevitable, you're going to lose money on it because you're getting 5,600 and you're paying back 8,000 or something. But again, it's about time. And that's the thing about when you look at like companies like Hypnosis and all of these companies that's buying up these artists' catalog, it's like these things make money over time. So as time continues to pass on, year after year, decade after decade, it's like some of these artists might not live that long to continue to collect that money. So they take the money up front. So it's like, okay, well, you give me $500 million, I could take $500 million, invest it in whatever, flip it a few times over and make money right now. Companies exist for generations, so you look at Maytag and all of this other stuff. It's like, when my father started this company 300 years ago, and it's like, yo, it's been in there for his grandfather, his great-grandfather, his great-great-grandfather. This company has been around. So when the company owns the assets, it's like that money is just going to keep getting pumped into the company for decades. And it'll go from this guy to his son to his son's son to his daughter to his daughter's daughter, and just keep going down. Now, that could have been the artist's legacy, but these companies be having a lot more money than people be having. It's corporations, right? But I mean, yeah, man, it's a wild thing that you look at and you say, there's a lot about it that makes sense and that could be good depending on what the artists do with the money. And it's not like a bad deal in the sense where they're not asking for ownership. So it's like, I would say it's not a bad deal because there's no ownership that's being taken from you. I mean, they're not even taking all of your royalties. So it's just for streaming royalties. So outside of that, again, you can do what you want with it and make money from it. I would just say, and let me just tap in with everybody and see what's up. But yeah, when it comes to a lot of this stuff, right? I would just say that when it comes to streaming revenue and these types of things, it's that did I lose my train of thought? Maybe, maybe, maybe not though, right? It's like a lot of this stuff, man, this money that comes in where people are buying royalties and things of that nature, it's like it's not, I wouldn't say it's abusive, right? Because they see an opportunity to make money. But don't get it twisted. It's a loan. It's a loan that you're paying back with interest. So it's like all of these things are loans that you have to pay back with interest. But the thing and the duality that I find within this is that this differs from a record deal in the sense that record companies invest in artists from the point of potential, you know? So it's like an artist can do stuff to earn, let's say, $60,000 for the year. And a record company comes and says, okay, well, if this guy with his limited budget could generate 60,000 a year, with our budget, we could turn that into $1 billion. And they would give an artist an advance based on what they feel like they could make off of that artist, like how much they're going to generate off of that artist. So you don't have to be making $100 million to get $100 million deal from a record company. So you see these artists like ASAP Rocky and all of this different type of stuff where they got $100 million, right? What's his name? Lil Nas X get all of this money from Universal Music Group. They didn't need to already be making that money in order to get that money. So the record company comes and they give them all of that money, and then the heat is on in regards to making it back and making more and all of that different type of stuff. But that's where, you know, they continue to invest in the artist with music videos and sponsor like partnerships and features and all of this other stuff to help the project become a success so they can make their money back. Whereas things like this is just need cash now, you know what I'm saying? Because that's all it is. These people aren't invested in you. They aren't invested in your success. They're not going to do anything to help you succeed any more than what you would otherwise. So it's just like they giving you money. Do what you will with that money. If you don't do anything and your record doesn't increase in value to where you pay it off faster and then they just get extra money because now they're collecting a percentage, then it's whatever. We just get what we gave you with a little interest. And if the record does well, right, and it excels, then we get extra interest because we get what we paid, what we gave you plus interest and then money on top of that. But they're not doing anything to help develop you or grow you or anything like that. So that's where it's like this deviates from a recording contract. You know, now there was a platform that I came across recently called Sonomo, I believe. And this Sonomo platform is like creates something like a stock exchange for music, right? There are, and I linked to them in the description box just for anybody that want to check it out and tell me their thoughts on it too. They are allowing artists to take a song, you take a song, and they give the song a valuation, kind of like how companies get valuations when they do an initial public offering and go public and stuff like that. And whatever that valuation is, let's say they value your song at $100 or something like that. Then it gets broken up into shares. Like, so let's say you're breaking it up into 1,000 shares. It's like 10 cents a share or something like that, right? So it's like, okay, now you got 10 cents a share and people can buy a percentage of your song for 10 cents. And the more people buy into the song, the more valuable the shares become. So it could start off at 10 cents and then go to 30 cents and 50 cents and 60 cents and stuff like that, you know, for people to be able to buy pieces of the song. Now, the difference is that people own that share of the song. Like, it's not a loan, it's not an advance, it's not something that you pay back and then you get it back. They bought 20% of the song or whatever percentage of the song that you were allowing people to buy into. So it's like you raise the money, they own the song, but then at the same time, they're invested in your success, you know? So it's like because it's almost like an inverted advance because they gave you the money, but you don't have to pay it back from your pocket. They only make the money back if the record makes money. So now that person needs the record to continue to generate revenue in order for them to make back the money that they invested in the record. So now everybody is kind of like on board with helping you succeed. So it's like, to an effect, you could have people who make movies buy into a song and then place the song in a movie knowing that it's gonna pump the streaming activity and help them generate more revenue from their asset. You can have people who create playlists, playlist the song knowing it's gonna increase that song streams and they're gonna generate revenue from their asset. You can have mix show DJs even playing a song because they know that playing a song is going to help get it exposure and help generate revenue from their asset. So it's like you basically create this whole community of people who have an interest in the success of the song. And it's like song by song. So it's not like your whole catalog. It's individual songs broken up into shares, allowing people to invest in these individual songs and be invested in you to a great extent. And maybe those people do something to help you succeed because they're incentivized to help you succeed. Now, maybe they don't, because some people might just invest and say, hey man, long term, right? If you buy 20 shares of something for $20 and streaming, like this kind of revenue from music is dependable revenue. Like this is going to keep coming in. It's almost like inflation proof, because it's like the value of a dollar might decline, housing market, stuff like that. It's hard to liquidate a house, things of that nature. But this music is going to continue to generate as long as it holds in regards of the level of popularity that it has, which is why, back catalog with these types of things tend to sell better than the new stuff. So it's like the back catalog, you already know that's going to do what it do. So it's like, if that's generating $20 a month and you invest $20 a month, month one, you've recouped. Month two and after, it's just profit. Even if it's like you bought into a song for $20 for the year. You bought into a song for $20 for the year two, it's all profit. After year one, where you made back your 20 that you put in, then year two, another 20, year three, another 20. So a lot of people would look at this and be like, yeah, this is something that makes sense, right? So I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's out there, a lot of stuff that's popping up, and I mean, I look at it and it's like, okay, well, just looking at what makes sense, because there are some deals out there that make absolutely no sense. Like I've had an artist that ran a deal past me not too long ago, and it was just insane, because some of these companies are taking advantage of the fact that artists don't have lawyers and stuff like that at their disposal, and also feeding into the ego of a lot of artists, where artists want validation and they just want to be able to like go to family and friends and say they got some type of deal, right? Because if somebody else comes and offers you money for your music, then that means that somebody else values your music. So a lot of times, man, that can make artists feel loved and feel like, feel appreciated, things of that nature. And those things can kind of like cloud their judgment. So it's like somebody get offered you a deal, and the deal isn't necessarily a good deal, but it's like you feel appreciated, you feel loved, you feel like these people, oh my God, they saw value in what I'm doing. And you could go to people and you'd be like, yeah, man, so I got offered this advance. And if you allow that to cloud your judgment and you go and sign a bad deal, then you got to recognize that you're going to be stuck in that deal for quite some time, because some of these companies is like, they're not just taking back the revenue they gave you from royalties. They are asking for outright ownership of your material, where it's like, we own this in exchange for this money that we gave you that you got to pay us back, which is absurd. Because if I give you 10,000 and then you give me back 15,000, but I still get to own your music for like 10 years or whatever have you, then it's like, yo, dude, I gave you ownership of my music in exchange for nothing, really, because the money that you gave me, I gave back to you. So now you just got ownership of my music. So yeah, man, it's a lot of stuff to kind of like be aware of that's out there right now. And they're kind of like coming after artists that they know have streaming activity, because these numbers is public, so people can look you up on Chartmetric and see, hey, this guy has generated over X amount of streams, so he's generating some revenue. Let's reach out to him and see if we could get that catalog, because it's generating some money. And if they take your catalog and then the other guy's catalog and then the other guy's catalog, individually, y'all might be making $3,000 a year, each of you. But collectively, that's a lot of money if they can take control of that, right? And then with owning a catalog, owning from the standpoint of like the master and stuff, that's power. Because then you could go and you could tell people what they can and can't do with the music and extract value. And if the record, if somebody comes along and want to sign the artist, they're gonna want that back catalog, and then they could negotiate and try to get a piece, kind of submarine deal by demanding things and stuff of that nature, man. So it's like you got to be real careful out here with what's been going on. Now, let me tap into the chat room and see who in here, man. And if nothing, then nothing. Right? We get up out of here and I go back to life. Right? Yeah, man. So if you in the building, tap in so I can shout you out and all of that good stuff, man. I know we got long distance traveler in the building. That's my guy. What up, man? We got DJ Armine. Yo, man, I've been meaning to hit you up, bro. I know you had emailed me a while back, but I just been caught up with so much, man. But definitely, man, I'm gonna hit you and we gonna chop it up, bro. But yeah, man, I mean, it's a lot of different stuff that's going on, And I mean, recently I did a video. Oh, not a video. It's just audio. So I've been messing around with just like doing audio lately. And it's about streaming fraud. And I've been trying to like think about how I want to put it out there, because I know sarcasm gets lost on people these days. So it's like I was gonna put it out there kind of like a how-to video, but I was like, hey man, this might get me banned or something if I put it out there like a how-to video, because it might be like perceived as me like supporting illegal activity. But the goal was just to show artists how easy it is for anybody to kind of like manipulate this system that we have, and then to dive into how it impacts the artists and the amount of money that the artists lose, and why this streaming system and the economics of it is dumb. And it's not something that benefits artists long term or even now, because most artists ain't really making no money off of streaming, like recording artists anyway. Producers, things of that nature, they making some money. But like recording artists, most recording artists ain't making no money from streaming, really. It's like they're making their money from touring. They're making their money from selling merch from while they're on tour, sponsorships, leveraging their celebrity, things of that nature. But streams, nah, that ain't what's happening, man. So it's like a lot of this stuff where it's like this race to the bottom, where it's like more artists, AI, all of these things coming in and eating up that real estate within streaming. It's like squeezing out artists. And don't. So it's like, you got a lot of people that say, oh, everybody's panicking over AI. It's nothing to be worried about. It is something to be worried about, because the reality of the situation is, you think about Russ's system of pumping out a whole bunch of releases to generate a lot of money from Spotify. That system isn't a system that everybody can win at. Because if I make more money, it means you make less money. That's how that system works. It's not like us selling a product where I'm selling something for $10 and you selling something for $10. And if somebody buys one from me, I make $10. And if they buy something from you, you make $10. So it's like, no matter what, if we're both selling, we both make money. That's not how streaming works. Streaming works where it's like, if more people are listening to me than to you, or if people are listening to both of us equally, but then somebody else comes and they start listening to them, then that money gets split from But from between us, the now between me, you, and this the other guy, 3 ways. Then another guy comes, now it's getting split 4 ways, and another guy comes and now it's getting split 5 ways, right? So it's just like this system of the more people come, the more the money gets split in and the less everybody makes. So it's like if you got AI programs, like multiple people now rocking labels, even having AI programs spitting out, dude, an AI program could generate thousands of songs in minutes. I mean, even with a lot of this generative NFT art that they got out now, where the thing can just, you put in stems, a drum track, a guitar track, and then it spits out like 10,000 different versions of the same song. So it's like, that's with generative art. Not even bringing AI into it. So if you got AI and, they have a singer sing and they basically just get down her vocal patterns, and then you could go in and just have like thousands of songs be generated, in minutes, and then just flood Spotify with these thousands of songs. Dude, it'll get to a point where artists can't make no money. So it's like the guy from Universal that's like, yo, man, we is ringing the alarm bells about it. Like, yeah, justifiably so, because it's something that it impacts them too. It impacts us all. And that's why they're really concerned about it. Now the labels are more so concerned about who gets to do it than they are the fact that it gets done, because they got AI programs that they done signed and stuff like that. But ultimately, it's going to really impact us, because we're the ones that don't have those AI programs to be generating a lot of those different releases and stuff like that, And there are ones that are available, but they cost money to use. So it's still like, like an investment that needs to be made in order to profit from something like that. But all in all, man, it's like the artists suffer, the music suffer, the fans suffer, because the music, it just gets pulled down in value. And everybody can say, okay, well, AI can't make quality music like artists can, from the standpoint of like, oh, inventiveness. But the big thing is, will people care? Do people care? It's like, you think about how we look at music, right? Older generations, and they say, hey, man, this was real music, and how much they love the music and musicianship and stuff like that, and how those things have been watered down through the years, where it's like you move further and further away from musicianship, further and further away from quality songwriting, further and further away from even any kind of uniqueness, where you move closer and closer to everything sounding the same, everything kind of mimicking each other, all of this different type of stuff. And in the 90s, we would have thought that people would care about quality hip hop and stuff like that. But as years move on, people tend to care less, and it's just about, hey, we in this club and we just want something to move our body to, and when it gets to that point, it's like, dude, game over, right? Not to be negative Nancy here, but it is what it is, man. But yeah, man, Maxwell, what's up? Dynasty was good, man. But yeah, I appreciate y'all for tapping in, man. This short episode. I'm gonna get upstairs and go play some video games with the kids. Make sure y'all check out the Pay Us No Mind Music Club. It is a NFT, or you could call it a digital pass, that grants artists the ability to like request reviews for personal use. Like, you say, yo, man, I came across Venice Music or something like that. What's up with those guys? I want to use them, but are they good? You reach out and I can do a custom review of them for you, right? Or advice or anything to that effect. And it also unlocks access to all of the exclusive content on the blog, and it's a lifetime pass. So it's not like a monthly fee or nothing like that, $10 a month or anything to that effect. You pay once, you got it forever, right? So definitely check that out. It's a link to it in the description box. As always, y'all guys can hit me up at PayUsNoMind on Instagram, at PayUsNoMind on Twitter, payusnomind@gmail.com. This is Gift signing off. Pay us no mind. Peace, good people. One. Y'all be good out there.